everyone. My name is Brooke. I'm the Youth Services Coordinator at the main branch in Livingston at Livingston Parish Library. Today's Fun Friday video is all about Twine. Twine is an open source software that allows just about anyone to create interactive stories and games. During this video, I will go over the basics of using Twine to create a choose-your-own-adventure story. First, you need to access Twine. To do this, go to twinery.org. This is the home page for Twine's website. From here, you will either download the program onto your device or use the program online. I recommend downloading it so that you can save your stories for later. To download, just click on whichever software your computer has and complete the steps provided. I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to pull it up on my computer. Now that you have Twine installed, go ahead and open it up so we can have a look around. This is the home screen. From here, you can start up a new project, upload any previous projects you may have worked on, and change the format you're working in. Click on Formats and ensure that it is set to the latest version of SugarCube. This is the format I will be using throughout the video. Feel free to experiment with other formats and see what you like best. There are many guides on the internet that tell you about different formats of Twine and how to use them. Now, click on this green plus story button over here on the right. It will ask you to name your story. The next screen that opens up is your storyboard. This is where you can see all of the branches of your story and different paths that can be taken. This passage with the green rocket is the start passage. This is where the story will begin when you press the play button. Let's go ahead and rename this passage by clicking on it. Click on the area that says Untitled Passage and type in whatever you want. It can be Chapter 1, Start, Beginning, or just about anything else that you can think of. The player will not see the title of the passage. This is just for you to keep your story organized. The passage below is where you will add any text you want to have in the start passage. Exit out of this passage by clicking the X in the top right corner. Look toward the bottom right of the screen. This plus passage button will add another passage to the storyboard. However, it won't be connected to the previous passages unless you connect it with a link. The play button will open up the story in a web browser. Go ahead and click the play button. This is how the story will be played. You'll also notice that the screen is quite bland with white text on a black background. We'll learn how to change the appearance later. Exit out of that page and go back to your storyboard. Let's talk about Choose Your Own Adventure stories. We have some Choose Your Own Adventure books at the library. They're super fun to read because you get to make decisions that affect the story. You can also reread the story and experience different outcomes. You can give the reader the ability to make decisions in Twine by creating links between passages. That being said, let's create some links. To create links, here is what you have to do. Type 2 brackets, then type what you want the text to say, then close it with 2 more brackets. Exit out of the start passage and you will see that another branch has been created. Let's go ahead and test out this link. Click on the play button like we did before. It will bring up a story in a web browser again. Notice that you cannot see the brackets that we typed around the text. Those brackets are working behind the scenes to make the link work. Now, you can see that when we click on the link, it brings us to the next passage. Of course, we didn't write anything here, so there's just default text. Exit out of that page and click the test button this time. When you click the test button, you see the same thing, except you can see everything that a player wouldn't normally see, like the brackets for the links. Go ahead and go back to your storyboard. Okay, now that we've created the first link, let's move along. For a Choose Your Own Adventure, you want the choices to branch out a bit. For this passage, let's give the player 2 choices. Do you remember what to do with the brackets? 2 brackets, link text, 2 more brackets. Do this for both of the available choices. Exit out of the current passage. You can see that 2 more passages have been created. Go ahead and pause the video and test out the links that you've created. Now that we have learned how to create choices in a story, let's learn how to change the appearance of the story. In Twine, you use something called CSS to change the appearance. CSS is a universal coding language. As we saw earlier, the default look is kind of boring, so let's change it up. To edit the CSS, go down here to the story's style sheet. This is the CSS file for your project. Currently, it is blank because we haven't added anything to change it. In the style sheet, we can do things like change the background color, change the text color, and change the way the font looks. First, let me show you how to change the background color. Type body. This will be our selector, aka what we want to change. This is going to change the default appearance of the entire game. Next, type an open curly bracket and then a closed curly bracket 2 lines down. This is the basic setup for CSS. Next, we need to add a property, what we want to change about the body, which in this case is the background color. Notice that if the property is invalid, Twine tells you by making it red. If it is a valid property, it has a normal green color. Next, type a colon and type what you want your color to be. For this, you can type basic colors like pink or blue, or you can use a hex code for a specific color. You can also Google CSS Colors and find a page that shows you what colors you can use in CSS. So choose a color. I'm going to go with white. So I will type in white, semicolon. Once you have everything typed, exit out of the style sheet and press the play button. You can see that the background color has changed. If it didn't work for you, go back and make sure that everything is correct. Make sure there is not incorrect spacing or spelling. Now that my background is white, it's kind of hard to see the text since it is also white. If you want to change the text color, all you have to do is go to the line below background color and type in another property. In this case, we will type color colon for the property, and then just type whatever color you want the text to be. I'm going to make my text red. You can also add properties to change the font and font size, but we are not going to go over that in this video. Press play to see if your font color has changed. Next, let's change the color of our links. First, you need a selector. In this case, the selector for the links is just the letter A. If you ever want to change something and you don't know what the selector would be, all you have to do is Google Twine CSS selectors and you can easily find a list of all the selectors you may need. After you have typed the letter A, you are then going to type the curly brackets just like we did for the body. For property, we are changing color, so type color colon and choose a color. I'm going to make my links gray. So now that we've changed the CSS, let's press play and make sure it worked. Now you can see that my links are gray. These are just the very basics of changing the appearance of a story or game. You can go further by changing the appearance of individual passages, but we're not going to go over that in this video. However, if you would like us to make a video going over more ways to edit in Twine, please let us know in the comments. The next thing we're going to do is look at how to change the look of this sidebar. I look at it and I think it's just kind of in the way and doesn't look very appealing. If you decide that you don't want this sidebar at all you have to do is go into the style sheet and type the selector, which will be $UI-bar, then type the curly brackets. Then for our property, we are going to type display, and for the value, we will say none. This will make the sidebar completely disappear. Pause the video and see if it worked. When you're finished writing your story, you want to be sure to save it. Click on this arrow at the bottom and click Publish to File. You will choose where you want to save the file and the name you want to save it as. This way you ensure that your file will not be lost. I hope this video has been helpful in the very basics of using Twine. Let us know in the comments what you think and if you would like to see more videos like this.